Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the PM and AM show. And boy, we have a loaded, hot, and heavy show coming right at you this morning. As I'm sitting here with my man, Mike Lauer. Good morning, Mike.
Morning, Patrick.
Happy post game birthday.
Thank you. Another trip around the sun.
Yes,
I've earned it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I love the glasses.
Yeah, I don't know. There's somebody. They're probably from Patterson Avenue Fanatics. So whenever you guys left your sunglasses here, I'm rocking them today.
Yeah, if you guys love.
He just improved them.
Yes, yes, he did.
I improved them. Yeah, all those ugly mugs on that show. Holy cow. But no.
Al, good morning, sir. My man Al Safir producing the show. Good morning, Al.
How you doing, guys? What's going on?
Oh, well, let's get started with the Phillies, who, I'm not upset about yesterday's game. I kind of looked at yesterday's game as a throwaway. You're hoping for Christopher Sanchez to have the same kind of game he had last week where he had 5 Ks and all that stuff. But it was just a bullpen game. He looked really, really, he came back to earth a little bit. He got dinged up by Monte rather, and that's where it all fell apart for him. And again, you're in the Phillies offense going against one of the best pitchers in the league, and Scherzer. Scherzer gets 9 Ks. Schwarber went 0 for 4 yesterday. Nick Castellanos played a hell of a game yesterday. Nice home run, nice single.
3 for 3.
3 for 3, and even Bryson Stott had Schwarber's number too. So, Mike, what's your take from yesterday's game?
I thought Sanchez pitched okay. I mean, I thought he kind of matched Scherzer a little bit. He didn't have as many strikeouts.
I think Sanchez did an amazing job.
Yeah, I think he did a pretty good job.
How many fifth starters give up?
Three give up like 3 runs. Yeah,
75
your
pitches.
Fifth starter gives up 3 runs or less. In my world, that's a win.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you what, man. If you look at it too, the Mets were desperate because if you looked at the series going into the weekend, Scherzer was supposed to pitch today. He was supposed to pitch against Zach Wheeler today. Right. So they kind of moved him up
to go against
to go against our fifth starter. And I thought Sanchez held that well. The lineup, man, some of these guys got to start hitting.
Some.
Yeah, like Alex Bones is like
out of maybe Nick and Stott, I think the rest of them have to. Brandon's had
a nice week. He had a nice week, and I want to get into him.
And I think a little bit is he was a little fear of losing his spot because when Pache came back, here's my thing is, since the second game of the A's, this team offense just plummeted. I'll give you a stat. Since that's June 17th to today, that 6 games are batting they're batting an average of 230. They have a win-loss of 3-3. 16 runs in that time. That's a little more than two runs a game. You can't survive off that.
Oh, like what was ailing the Phillies, just 2 weeks ago? They seem to have gotten it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the pitching, starting pitching, it seemed kind of right at itself. But yeah, these bats in this lineup, you got to have a few guys going, man. And there's our boy D.
Dives. What's up, Dives?
It's funny, and I know we're gonna get into the Flyers in a second or in a few minutes, but I think I tweeted this out yesterday. I said I love when the Flyers are relevant in this town. It does make a difference to me. I mean, It's good to talk about the Flyers, and even though it's like getting, they're kind of wholesaling everything, but I mean, by the end of today, they could have 3 first-round draft picks,
3 or 4,
depending on what moves are made.
I mean, again, I want to talk Flyers. I'm going to save it for a little later, and I'll tell you what. As much as I've been, coming in here, flopping my junk on here, smashing things up.
Dude.
What? Well, you're about 3/4 in, right?
No, I'm a quarter in, dude.
Oh, in my life, that's
somewhere between a quarter and a third. That's not nowhere near Pat line.
Nowhere near the Pat line.
Can we call it the Gobbler Mendoza?
The Gobbler Mendoza. Yeah, nowhere near the Gobbler Mendoza.
That sounds like a personal podcast. But yeah, anyway, look, the Flyers have caught my eye. They've caught my eye in a positive direction, and but like I said, I'm going to say that for a little later.
Oh yeah, I got a rebuttal too from yesterday's show. You boys at the Patterson Avenue Fanatics, you're getting it. You're getting it. All except Joe Marks. I'm not going to go after Joey because Joey actually kind of made sense yesterday, and James was kind of quiet. But Dame and Father Frank over there. Father Frank, and TK. Oh yeah, they're getting
not
it.
the nipples.
Yeah,
all right. But
did you just call him nipples?
Yeah, I've been calling him nipples for a long time.
Jesus God.
But anyway,
mainly in their bedroom, mainly
Yeah.
in the privacy of their own home.
Wow. Poor TK right now. You just made him probably spit his coffee everywhere.
Yes. But anyway, listen. Let's get back to Brandon Marsh because again, 11 of his last 14 at bats, he has 11 hits. 8 of them were singles, 2 of them were doubles, and with one RBI. I mean, like you said too, Al, the guy probably had fear of losing his position in the lineup, so he's been coming along strong. And then, like you said, you have Nick Castellanos, who's been swinging the bat well. You have Bryson Stott, obviously, your 2 most consistent hitters. They're both top 10 hitters in the league. However, and I'm going to go back to another member of this Edge of Philly Sports Network, my man Matty B, showing a lot of concerns about one Bryce Harper of him getting rushed back here and him not making contact. And look, Bryce Harper has shown his concerns and frustrations, rather. You see him throwing his helmet, you see him smashing things up in the dugout. I mean, what's going on with Bryce Harper, Mike?
Oh, he came back too early. I mean, that's obvious. He came back early. But, I mean, if he was well enough to play and he felt good enough to come back, I just think it's a multiple things. It's one is like he didn't really have a spring training, so he kind of got thrown into the fire. I'm not worried about Bryce. I'm worried about Bryce second half of the year.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think they rushed him up here?
I don't think
do you think they pushed the panic button?
No, I don't think they did. I think he hustled his way back.
Okay.
I think it was more. If anything, I push more towards him wanting to be back than the Phillies rushing him. I don't think the Phillies rushed him. I think they were trying to be ultra. If anything, they were trying to be too cautious with him. You know what I mean? So with that, I don't know, man. I think he's going to get right. He will.
Listen, I don't think there's anything about Bryce getting right or not getting right. I think that'll happen. And I can see what Matty B's saying about was he rushed back or should he been down in the minors? And that's kind of like hindsight at this point. We don't know if that would have made a world of a difference. But he just came off Tommy John surgery. And the bat power wasn't affected last year, but now you've had surgery.
It could be
it's still healing. It could be a factor. You could see the frustration at everything he does. I mean, he comes up and he wails at the first pitch no matter where it's at. Like he wants to tee off. Like, and I think John Kruk said it. He said it during the broadcast yesterday. He said it's almost like he thinks if he gets one home run since he hasn't had one in a month, or over a month now, that he gets it, everything will be fine. And that's not it. It's not it. He just needs he's still batting pretty well considering the facts. I mean, he's had some clutch RBIs and hits. He just hasn't had the power behind it. And I think he just needs to play small ball and the power will come.
That's what I'm thinking too. Like, and can I dare say this, but maybe we ought to drop him down in the lineup
to take the pressure off.
Why not? Yeah. I mean, why have him up here in a high pressure situation? Yeah, he's playing the small ball right now. His power numbers ain't there. I would flip flop him and JT. You know what I mean? Flip flop him and JT.
I mean, if you want to ride the hot hand, as use the hockey term, I would flip him and Brandon Marsh right now.
No. That's too far down the lineup.
Yeah, but I mean, just to get his confidence back.
If you're going to flip him, you got to keep him in the middle of the lineup. I mean, if you take him from 3 to 5 or 3 to 6, like 6 would be like the cutoff point that I would go as far as, I mean, he's your franchise player. You're not going to bat him 7th or 8th. You know what I mean? I would drop him down to say, look, this is for you to get right. We're going to put him here. Yeah, and he would. I'm pretty sure showing what he's been like. He hasn't shown that he's like a multi diva or anything that like.
Well, and look at it this way too. If you put him at 8th and 9th in the lineup, right? He gets his bats coming along. That kind of sets up for Schwarber to come back around. Then you get the starting rotation back. Then you can start tacking on points because or runs. That's what you need to do. You need to start, like Al said. I think you need to start playing some small balls. Start, just get on base, and just like I said to you, Al, on Friday, I think mentally in his head, like he's got to be in that MVP caliber conversation where he needs that kind of year. I think that's what's more driving him more angrier and frustrated. It's like in his head, he's got to be here, and he's not performing to that level. You know what I mean?
Like I said, I think it's going to come. Like I said, we weren't supposed to have him back till after the All-Star break.
Right.
So I mean, the fact that you got him back when you did get him back, it's our boy Mike Peppernick checking in. What's up, Mike? Says I had the same injury recently. I know Bryce is not 100%. He shouldn't be playing. His elbow is not ready yet for this. We won't see the real Bryce until next season, and that's very well possible.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying he shouldn't play. He's definitely not 100%. Should they be playing him maybe with more breaks in between, letting him heal? That could be possibly a good idea. And he's right. We will not see the power bat of Bryce Harper until he's fully healed.
Well, that's another thing too. Like, didn't Derek Hall just came off?
It is snag. Wow. Oh my god.
Yeah. I saw that too on Twitter.
Was that the one from last night or today?
I think that was the one from last night.
He's saying breaking news. So.
Oh.
Hey, Fuge, what's going on, buddy?
Fuji?
What's up, Fuge? Yeah,
Mount Fuge.
Yeah, we gotta get.
I had my surgery back in March. I'm still not 100%, and I'm busting my ass in therapy. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely something that takes.
Oh, it's a 9-month surgery, right? Before you're fully healed.
Well, so here's the thing and it's different between somebody who's throwing, looking to throw 95 and above miles per hour, a guy who's hitting the ball more than throwing the ball. And then everyday people. So yeah, it's gonna take a lot longer, especially when it comes to velocity things. But yeah, I mean, it's a long healing process. You're looking about, I think, for the average person, at least 5 or 6 months easily, and that's not for 100%. Like to do almost everything and not have too many restrictions, but to have the power and feel normal again could take longer. Yeah, absolutely, could double that time.
Yeah, like I said,
yeah, 1 year of healing process. Yeah.
Right. And I'll tell you what. And
okay, 30 minutes ago. That was it. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dives.
So if you're looking at this, I'm happy Derek Hall is back in the lineup. Now, my thing is, or he's back with the team. My thing is, I'd like to see a little more of him at first base and keeping him, making him the everyday first baseman now going forward. Can we get rid of the Cody Clemens experiment? Cody's had some decent moments. But I feel Cody's better coming off the bench and maybe being a spot starter than he is being in the lineup. Like yesterday, he shouldn't have been in the lineup against Scherzer. It should have had Derek Hall in there. So,
right. I mean,
Hall's got pop in his bat, and right now this Phillies team is lacking that pop. You know what I mean?
True.
So,
like you said, Clemens does have his here and there moments.
I mean, he had a great play. What was it, Friday night when he came back? Was that Friday or Thursday when he came back and dove and caught the ball on that pop-up? So, I mean, he's had some good moments for the Phillies, but...
Yeah, well, like I said, we'll see what happens. Yesterday's game, even, like I said, watching the game, Schwarber striking out, even, I think it was, the bottom of the fifth where he had that one strikeout. I think the ump had a terrible call on him because the pitch was way outside. And
Scherzer's going to get those calls. You know what I mean?
That's true.
That's just the way of the beast.
Yeah, and Scherzer, with him, it's pick your poison. Scherzer's a dude you got to get to early. If you don't get to him early, dude, he gets better as the game goes on.
Right, and like I say, you just got to know how to tackle him. I mean, again, he was another.
Again, the Mets were smart yesterday. The Mets
his sliders and sinkers were really, really good yesterday, and he had a lot of guys fishing.
Yeah, well, listen, you got to give the Mets credit. They knew they were going against a fifth starter yesterday. So what
they looked at a mismatch.
Right, so they flip flop. Because if you, like I said, we were talking before we went on air. Scherzer was supposed to be opposed by Zach Wheeler for today's game, and so they saw Sanchez was going to be the pitcher, and they just.
Yeah, they
flip-flopped. If I'm feeling really good about the Phillies today. You got Zach going on there. Carrasco has been a shell of his former self.
Right.
And I watched that kid come up.
Until they play the Phillies. Every time I hear that, I said that. I think I said it on the show like a couple of weeks ago. I'm tired of hearing like Tom McCarthy go, well, this is a great game for this team to get right. You know, this guy's he lets up like 8 runs a game, and then it looks like Cy Young when they play the.
Well,
Phillies.
here's the thing, and you know what? There might be a little extra juice too because he once was a Philly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was a Phillies prospect. Mm-hmm. We traded him to Cleveland, right? He was part of the Cliff Lee deal. Yeah. Carrasco, because I remember I seen him pitch in the minors for the Phillies. I might have been Reading. I think he was up at Reading. It was before they moved to Allentown. So,
yeah, I mean, like I said, but you and I talked too, Al. The Mets, though, in a way, they kind of gave up on their season. Like it's a funny
this team might not have, but they're not a team. I guess is a good way of putting it.
Yeah, they got a fire sale going on.
Yeah, that was weird. They traded a guy. They're starting third baseman of the year.
Escobar, right?
Eduardo Escobar.
Yeah, it literally at the time of the game or in the middle of the game, something like that. So it's interesting to see.
Yeah, they traded it to the Angels for 2 prospect pitching.
Yeah, I saw that, and
2 AA pitchers.
Yeah, I saw. I got the CSN. Was it CSNY?
Yeah.
Twitter
SNY.
about. Yeah, SNY. I got the story about them trading Escobar to the Angels, and I clicked on it, and dude, all these Mets fans were just going crazy. They're like, typical June swoon for the Mets.
Yeah.
But I saw out of 300 comments that were in there was one positive. The one guy goes, "Well, we can only go up from here." And I was just like, wow. I'm like, now this is a team that won 101 games a year
now,
ago.
You want to talk about the seesaw between the Phillies and Mets, and what a difference from May to June. Here goes the Mets, right? Up until now, swept by the Blue Jays, swept by the Braves, losing series against the Pirates, splitting with the Yankees, losing series against the Cardinals, losing against the Astros. I mean, this team is just treaded downhill. Yeah. So I mean, if this is going to be the series for the Yankees, for the Phillies to turn it around, today would be it.
Well, listen, they got to get a series win.
Yeah,
they have to go.
They have to get a series win against the Mets. Keep the series wins going. Or this be 6 in a row? No, it broke up against the Braves, so this wouldn't be in a row. But this be a 6 win or 6 out of 7. They would have had. On top of it, they haven't won a series against the Mets since 2021. So, yeah, that's another thing. It's all about. Remember, I keep telling you guys that checklist. Yeah. All right, they went out to Arizona. They did not struggle. The bats were hot. They beat even the best Arizona team that they probably have seen in years.
Second best team in the NL.
Yeah.
They won in Oakland where they had a horrible winning record.
Yeah, and they don't play off. But still, they checklist. All about checklist.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
how about that too?
They check off the Braves checkbox, but
no, they got.
How about the Braves ending the Reds' 12-game win streak yesterday?
Yeah, I mean,
I'll tell you what, them Reds are red hot.
Yeah, they are. They are red. They're scorching hot. And again, if the Phillies can win against the Mets today, get yourself momentum. You get a day break, and then you head out to Chicago against the Cubs. Cubs are on a 4-game winning streak, and then you can, hopefully take care of business out there in Wrigley Field.
You know what? Speaking of, you might have missed the opportunity though, because our boys from the Philly Sports Trips will be there. There's going to be a bunch of people there. But if you missed out on that one, they're going to Pittsburgh on July 28th through the 31st. PNC Park is an amazing spot. If you haven't been there, it really is a cool stadium.
I've walked by there. Never been.
It is a cool stadium.
I've been to Igloo, but never been there.
Yeah, much better than Igloo. But check it out. Go to phillysportstrips.com. And as I tell you all the time, they have different they have all the away games for the Eagles games come up. So if you're looking for Christmas, figure out Christmas shopping list early, you're trying to get mom, dad, brother, sister, that cool trip. They're going to New York twice. They'll be in Washington again. They'll be at the KC if you want to fly somewhere. Dallas is even a cool place to go to. I mean, except for the Dallas fans part of it. Other than that, go to phillysportstrips.com right now and tell me OP saying it.
Question: are they doing the home tailgates again too?
I believe so. And there's even they're even doing a trip, not for us, but for bringing foreign people in who are Phillies fans from outside the area into, or Eagles fans into, I think it's in November. I have to look up the information on it. But they're bringing, I think, England fans or something across the pond or whatever into South Philly to watch an Eagles game.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, I remember one of the opening day Eagles games. I was at the Aussies down there, and I met a bunch of Eagle fans from San Antonio. I was like, "This is cool." I said, "It's nice, you get all the Bird fans flopping in here and enjoying themselves."
Yeah,
there we go. Birds fly home November 2nd to the 6th. The ultimate Philadelphia homecoming. Let's see where it's coming from, but that's it. That's all I have on it right now. Yeah, it's international fans for the U.S. who live outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I've met a person from Ireland who's an Eagles fan. I also met somebody from Australia that's an Eagles fan. Now, that's a dedicated fan right there.
Australia is definitely. I think the Mailata thing has helped Australia a little bit, like become an Eagles fan. But no, I mean, there is a lot.
Well, you got to forget too. We had the two punters. You had Jones, who was from Australia, and Savraka, who was also Australian football player.
And doing what we do, like me on me, Joe, and all us doing the social media a lot. People just message us, hey. Messaging from England, messaging from New Zealand, messaging from Japan. Love
That's
it.
awesome.
Thanks for keeping us up to date.
Yep, and I'll tell you what, man, and he was really cool, man. He was like, the only thing he kept telling me about, he's like, man, he goes, your beer's cold. And I'm like, yeah, we kind of like it like that. He's like, no, he's like, gotta drink it warm, mate. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
But getting back to this Phillies.
Yeah, Mike, just give me a little intake on your so far on Brandon Marsh, though. I mean,
I think Brandon Marsh is having a good 2 weeks. I don't think he's ever in fear of losing this job because I don't think Pache can.
Well,
I don't think he can bat.
Platooning him. Like,
well, you know what? They should. And you know what? And I feel the same way about Schwarber too. I think that they should have a platoon. I think late in games you should pull Kyle Schwarber.
Well,
there's enough guys in this lineup who can take over power-wise.
Well, they haven't, and I think that's the reason why you haven't seen that.
True, but I'd still get him out of there because I mean, one thing. This might have been before your guys' time, but I remember with the '93 team, both corner outfielders were platooned. You had Wes Chamberlain and Jim Eisenreich switching in right field, and in left field you had Pete Incaviglia and Milt Thompson.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So. And it worked. And the only constant that was out there was Lenny Dykstra.
True.
So, I mean, I could definitely see them doing it. Now, I feel like Castellanos has really improved his game.
Oh, dude, he's great.
Playing, I'm talking about in the field wise.
Oh, yeah.
His fielding has definitely come up.
I mean,
Harper,
you can say since the postseason last year, it hasn't really stopped.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you look at it going forward, he's going to be your left fielder. He's going to be your left fielder. Bryce is going to go back to right field. Now you got Schwarber doing what he does best, which is just bashing balls. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
I mean, I think it's all going to trend in the right direction with them. But I feel for right now, though, man.
It's. I think part of it's tough. Coming off a 2-game sweep from the Braves doesn't help because. Again, that checklist I keep telling you about, you want to hit those check boxes. That was one that you had your marker out and you're ready to hit the little.
Yeah, they were in both games. I mean, you couldn't
ask the split of the 2 games.
Listen, you couldn't have asked for better pitching performances from Suarez and Aaron Nola.
Yeah, nobody's hating Aaron Nola today. Notice that. Nobody's hating on Aaron Nola.
Yeah, I mean, they went out. I mean, that dude pitched his heart out. So did Ranger. Ranger went, stride for stride with Strider. He was right there with Strider. And, that's all you can ask. Like, that was just a bad bullpen. The first game of the Atlanta series was just a bad bullpen got torched a little bit. But good teams do that. You can't leave 12 runners on base.
No. And back to Matty B, brought that stat up numerous. It's something that's haunted this team for a couple of years now.
Leaving guys on.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing, too. Like, if they're going to start playing small ball, you got to get these runs in.
You know? So, I mean, like I said, the offense, though, like I said, needs a pickup. We can only rely on Castellanos, Bryce, and Stott as your most consistent at bats. Again,
Boom too. I mean,
Trey Turner does. I mean, he's come up with guys on base. He recorded his 25th RBI yesterday. But like I said, I was really by this past week. I was really impressed by Brandon Marsh. I mean, like I said, out of your 11 out of 14 at bats, you have 8 singles, two doubles. 1 RBI. I mean, the dude looks solid. Again, you might want to think about moving him up in your lineup unless he's comfortable being where he's at.
Well, that's the question. I mean, everybody talks about moving up and moving down and moving here and moving. It's consistency does play a factor into this too. Like, it's really hard to just say move this guy around and not think.
Yeah, but where are you with Brandon Marsh right now, Al?
I like him right where he's at.
Same here. Same here.
Don't move him.
I think he's perfect right where he is. He doesn't need to be moved because, he makes contact. He's the guy.
He's also got speed.
He's got speed. He's down in the bottom of the lineup. So what's that going to do is it's going to help your lineup turn over, too. So you need guys at the bottom of your lineup to help that lineup turn over into your power. Like I said, I looked at that Brave series like I don't know. I wasn't that upset.
No, I'm upset with the bats.
Yeah, I mean
you could have scored one run. One run, you could have won that game before it went to extra innings.
Yep.
Couldn't even get one run across.
Yeah,
neither team did. In the
it just fell apart. I mean, like I said, that error killed the Phillies. If you take away, he doesn't make that error. He catches the ball. We're talking about a split against the Braves.
Yeah, and it again shouldn't have happened.
Shouldn't. I mean, and you got to give Schwarber credit too. He stood right in front of the camera and told. He said, "No, man, this is on me."
And I'll give him that. And like I said, Montel, Junior Montel had Marte had look. He got thumped, and it is what it is. He got thumped. He knows it. He was getting rocked left and right in that the 10th, and it's the game got away from him. And like you said, to take the game to the 10th inning with the best in your division and one of the top teams in the league,
best in your league.
Yeah,
now, like they got the best record in the National League.
I mean, listen, like you said, we've been happy we saw a split. Yeah. But look, I'm not mad with the Phillies. I think they're they're
the first time he came in, he's not ready to rip their face off.
No. I'm usually that guy who pushes the panic button and, like I said, run around.
Not you.
You panic?
Overreact and run around my underwear on fire. That's
why they call him the gobbler. It has nothing to do with the food.
Oh,
because he acts like with a chicken with his head cut off. Just runs around. Yeah. That's exactly where I was going with it. Thank you, Pat.
Yeah, cock-a-doodle-doo. We didn't need that visual. You did, Mike.
Sean Kilrain. Hey, guys. Castellanos was one of the few bright spots in the Phillies lineup. Taking Max Scherzer deep in the fourth inning. Castellanos has been on fire in June. Slashing at 395, 429, and 618 through 19 games and 10 runs and 16 RBIs as well as 4 of his 9 homers and 3 of the 5 steals of the season.
Yeah,
Sean, man,
take a breath.
Sean. Wrote an article.
He did. But I'll tell you what, I feel like that's the Phillies representative right now.
Well, I love hearing Kruk go, send that man to Seattle. Because they want to get in the All-Star game, and it's a shame that the All-Star game is more of a popularity contest.
And it is, and it's a shame.
Yeah, what was it? What was the vote? Like they said, somebody I think Harper's the only one that moved on to the next round, and I'm like, no. But I think don't the managers still get a choice though of who they want on the team? So he may still end up being picked as a reserve.
Apparently, according to Tomper, that's changed a little bit. He has some say, but not the total say. So he said he's going to do whatever he can to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, he deserves to be on the All-Star team.
All right, well, look, not to shift gears here, but, Mike, there's been
gears.
I'm grabbing the stick, and I'm pushing it forward in the 4th gear.
Oh, here we go.
I don't know what stick I'm grabbing, but I'm shifting this bad boy up. But, listen, if you ain't happy, you ain't horny. Listen, Mike, we have...
Mike, those are ones you just let slide by. Just let them go.
All right, we're good.
Let them go.
We're good.
Like it didn't happen. You know what I mean?
We're good.
Like when a kid, he's like a kid when they fall and scrape their knee and they start crying. Yeah. You're fine. You try to make them laugh and move past it.
Yes. But Mike, NHL free agency is about to hit. But before we do that, our Flyers, as my man Diaz brought to our attention, I don't know if there's a rumor. I mean, it's a rumor, but I don't know if it's going to – is this thing going to happen? And if it does happen, the Flyers front office, who I came in there dooming and glooming about, because I'd seen it and I was arguing with you and Al last week about, ex-Flyer guys, here we go for this circus sound. But no, they've caught my eye. If they could get rid of Kevin Hayes and Scott Lofton and Tony DeAngelo, get rid of all the stiffs, all the garbage, and you get rid of them out the door for draft picks and all that, sign me up today.
Wait. Tony DeAngelo is the only stiff garbage guy you just mentioned there.
Kevin Hayes.
All right, Kevin Hayes, I don't say he's a stiff. He's not working with his coach right now. All right. So And Scott Lawton's a good player. I mean, he's not the best player, but he's not a stiff.
Oh, he's a stiff. He's a overpaid stiff. But anyway.
Oh my God! Every time you talk, your hockey knowledge just goes. Your hockey knowledge credibility
What
goes right down the
toilet. By the way, the update I'm looking here on Twitter from Jamie Pascal. Flyers Blues deal is still halted at this moment. Recap: Hayes and Sanheim to the Blues. Rare to find a team for Krug to finish the trade. If he doesn't, it's Krug or Krug? I always say his name wrong. To finish the trade, as he doesn't want to waive his no trade clause to Philly. The rest of the return remains fluid.
Okay, so basically, the guy Krug doesn't want to sign his no trade clause to come here.
I think if they found a way of saying, "Hey, we're going to trade you," a three-way trade or a trade after the trade or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, waive the clause. We'll get you out of here. You're not going to stay here. We just want
to. Good. We don't want him here anyway.
I don't want him here anymore than anybody else. Yeah. But the problem is probably finding somebody
to take
him.
But anyway, yeah. The more you open your mouth about hockey, dude, the more I question your credibility on this.
Why?
Listen, because it's like Stevie Wonder watching a hockey game with you sometimes. Like you sit back and you go, "Oh, well, this guy's a stiff." No, Lawton's not a stiff, dude.
You just want to see him gone, and not even because you don't like him. I think it's just because we want to see the page turn.
That's and
I just want to see the page turn and move past it. But to call Scott Lawton a stiff is a little bit of a
no, it's fair. I mean, he got a contract extension. Okay, he only had 18 goals. He's a fourth liner at best. At best, I mean,
there was talks of getting a first round pick for Scott Lawton.
If
you can do that, great. Take it.
Okay, but that shoots what you're saying, that he's a fourth line center. If he's a fourth line center, there's no team that was going to be willing to give up a first round pick for him. Like, I love you, Pat. I do, but sometimes your takes are asinine. And
what are you talking about?
He's real funny there. I don't think our friends on North will think that's funny, but no, I mean, I would say he's anywhere between the second and third line. I mean, he had to play second line this year because of the injury to Coots. Coots wasn't in the lineup, and of course, Hayes is the front line centerman. So really, if you're taking a look at it, he was really kind of a second line center. He did his job. He wasn't, over the top spectacular. No, I'll agree with you on that one. But to say he's a stiff, no, it's not a stiff.
Mike, I question you being a homer at times.
I'm not being a homer, dude. I watch all the NHL, dude. I don't just watch the Flyers. I watch all of the NHL. And I'm telling you, Lawton's not a bad player. Again, too, you don't know what Tortorella wanted him to do in his scheme as well.
And with the Flyers, I don't know what they want to do. But anyway, look, if you can, like I said, if they can make this move and get rid of all the garbage out of here and just bring some fresh.
Again, it's not garbage.
It's garbage.
Listen, the team in a whole is hot garbage because you got some NHL players intermixed with some guys who aren't ready for the NHL, intermixed with some guys who should be in the NHL. But to call certain players. Kevin Hayes is not hot garbage.
No.
He is a good player. If you put him on Boston, say, or not to be the number one guy, he's not a number one guy. He's just not.
Right.
But if you put him on a good team who's maybe losing some players and need to add some veteran presence, he's a great ad.
Dude, if you put him on that Carolina team, what? They would be front runners right now to win the East. You put Kevin Hayes on. Just by them adding Kevin Hayes. They would be the front runners.
I don't know. That's where we difference. I don't see it. I don't.
Kevin Hayes has been a good player for years, man. He was a good player when he was in New York.
He's not a bad player.
He's not a bad player. Like he played for Tortorella before. You know what I mean? So I disagree with your
statement of him. Like how you said, again, I disagree with you generally.
Generally, yeah. Like I said, we'll wait and see what happens. But I do agree with you. I love the fact that the Flyers are turning the page. This is where I'm going to say something to our brethren from Saturday morning. Okay?
Uh-oh.
Frank Finnegan, I love you.
Hold on. The gloves have to come off.
Yes, drop them. And drop to something else.
Oh, you ruined that. Anyway. Frank, I love you to death.
What's that, honey? He uses it from his wife all the time.
Yes.
Frank, I love you, but you're off your medication. I think Dame is, just agreeing with Frank. So, Dane, you're off your medication.
You're off Frank's medication.
Yeah, you're off Frank's medication. TK, no, I'm going to. You guys all told me yesterday that, oh, no, these certain guys, they're flyers. No, they're not. Okay? Again, I love you, Frank. You did do your research, but how can you say he's a flyer when his only time he won a Stanley Cup was a member of the Colorado Avalanche, and he spent just as much time as an Avalanche player as he did a Flyer? Okay, yes, he was a Flyers broadcaster, but he also did national games too.
Sure.
So he's not just typical Flyers. Briere cut his teeth for 7 years as a front office executive. Now this is his third landing spot.
Well, that, like I said, Mike, I tend to like to fight with you, but I gotta agree with you though. I mean, one thing about Jonesy, he does look at all around the NHL. He does cover a lot of, like you said, he's not just covering the Flyers. He does do a lot of premium. Again, he was just covering the Cup, so he knows talent. He's
right, exactly. But these guys yesterday morning were like, "Oh no, they're Flyers." Like, Frank was like, "I swear that's going to be you in 20 years."
Maybe
Frank,
5.
Yeah, maybe 5. But I was about to say, Frank, your dad. But I've actually met your dad.
Oh yeah.
So I know he's not. But I mean, you guys had almost you had the same. Wow. you guys actually had the same argument, except you kind of came back from last week. He had your argument from a week ago. These former Flyers coming in. Hey, it's a different time. Like if they were if they would have brought in, like, say, the Helm to be the GM, then I see him going, oh, same old.
But that's I understand Frank's point though. I mean, it's got to be cautious. We've seen this wheel 1,000 times. But
stop! You saw the
hold on. You gotta let me finish. When I get started, you gotta let me finish. So
is that what your wife says?
So
it's usually single tear following it, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's more. I'm usually the one in pain here, but so anyway, again, I understand what Frank's saying. I get it. The cautious. You see the old Flyer emblem. You're going to think the same old. But you got to go deep. You got to think deeper. I mean, like you said, we just talked about Jonesy.
Stop! You're making this too easy for me today.
Jonesy, Jonesy's been around the league. Danny Briere was just with Montreal. He knows talent. I mean, he was one of the guys who can help pick out Nick Suzuki. Nick Suzuki plays very, very well on a bad team with Montreal. So I'm curious to see what they do this summer. Again, if they can make this whole happen, sign me up. I'm all for it. And I'm curious to know what they do in the draft. I'm curious to know what they do with free agency because I know, speaking of free agency, there's a lot of names out there, a lot of veteran names. Patrick Kane's going to be on the market. Ryan O'Reilly is going to be on the market. Bergeron's going to be on the market again.
I would love to get.
I mean, again,
I would love. Like he's one guy that I don't care. He's like wine, dude. He gets better with age.
Yes,
Bergeron. I mean, he's just so good. But rumor has it he's probably going to go back to Boston.
And rumor has it, why would anybody at his age want to come to the Flyers? There's nobody.
Now his age. It's
the guy who's kind of like, all right, it's a money thing. But he's going to be willing to be a good veteran presence and work with the young guys and teach them the ropes. That's the only thing you want from a veteran right now. I mean, this team is at least a solid 3 years outside of some.
I don't think so. I don't think they're 3 years away. A lot of people, you're like, well, Matty B, you guys are taking 3-4 years. I don't think so. Not with the way this cap situation is. The cap is actually going to go up, and the Flyers are getting rid of a lot of dead money. They get rid of a lot of dead money this year, man. Like this rebuild can be a lot quicker than expected, and I wouldn't mind them getting a guy like Bergeron or even a Ryan O'Reilly. Bring them in for a couple of years. Let them teach these guys.
Ryan O'Reilly killed the Flyers. When he was with the Sabres and when he was with St. Louis, he killed the Flyers, and he was a big contributor to the Florida Panthers. I mean, I like to see this Ivan Barjov. I pretty much butchered his name, but again, he was a winger for the Golden Knights. I would like to see him in here. I like to see what he.
Again, though, you got to be careful because you don't want to go. You got to find the right mix.
Yeah,
because you're going to need if you're getting rid of all these veterans. and that you have that's been here for a while, like Hayes, Konechny, Sanheim. You're getting rid of these guys. You got to bring somebody else in to replace them, and to help gel with these young guys.
Let me ask you: would you kick the tires on Patrick Kane as for a veteran leadership?
It depends on. See, here's
the thing. It all depends on what they want.
Yeah, and then also depends on what that guy wants to do. Like,
if he's looking just to win cups, then no.
Yeah. No, well, right.
I mean, that could be something that they negotiate.
So one a few times when you're talking sports, you want to say, let's find somebody who wants a payday, but is willing to be a leader, because that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for now. Like, that's why I'm saying I love.
Yeah, well, that would be a hard fall, but with all the thing is if they can gather another first round prospect, at least between now and Wednesday at 7:00, they could use that to move up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
And I don't know if dives will be about falling, but it could be about having
moving up to go
to get there.
And like I said, you've seen the messages on TikTok. Like, I mean, I still, like I said, if we get back up to get a package deal for a car.
Don't forget too, though. You also got the
100%.
What the hell was his name? The Russian just got done serving his military time now, but the goaltender. He's going to be coming over here too. So I think that's why they're looking at getting rid of Hart.
Yeah,
because you also have.
I think it's part of it. I think part of it.
Yeah, and that dude was stellar, dude. He was like money.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it looks. It bodes well for the Flyers. It really does. But if you're looking at a veteran presence to the side, I would definitely throw a boatload of money at Bergeron and bring him, because he's a proven leader. He was the captain of that Boston team.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Boston's been a perennial playoff team. I know my boy Insanio kind of told us, watch out, they're going to fall. But, again, I think he needs to change the scenery. I think Pat, how long have I been calling for Bergeron to come to the Flyers?
You've been begging that since last summer.
Yeah, I've been begging for the Flyers to try to reach out and get him. And I think he could play, I think he would be able to I guess, communicate what Tortorella wants on the ice. You know what I mean? He's a proven captain.
Right, and then here goes one too, Mike. Max Domi going to be hitting the.
Nah. I'm not.
You don't want Domi's kid in there?
It's not. It has nothing to do with him being Ty's kid. I just don't feel like he's a good player.
Okay, I mean,
I'd rather have one of the Kachuk boys. To be honest with you.
You want to take one of the Kachuk boys?
Yes, I would rather take either one of the Kachuk boys here over Domi. Like, to me, Max Domi.
In Philly, the Domi name just doesn't.
Well, no. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. If he were ever to get acquired by the Flyers, he would be a legend here.
Hey, Joe, I laugh at this comment because I've been laughing at it all week long. It's saying, "I hope the Flyers get the Russian kid." That's like, that's like
saying, I want the meat.
No, yeah, it's like it's in hockey. It's like you have 1/3 the chance of getting a Russian kid. People have been saying that all week long because I can't pronounce his name, which I don't blame you. It's just it makes me laugh because of that reason. It's like, oh, I hope I help the Canadian kid like hockey.
Yes.
You know.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean, like I said, there's going to be like a lot of, like I said, veterans.
Who do you want? Who do you think the Flyers should go after? I think they should go after defense.
But like, I agree with Al. If somebody's looking for a quick payday and just want to be a veteran player, leadership. If you're one of those veterans looking to, trying to get one more shot of glory and looking for a cup, this is obviously going to be the wrong team to be at. If you're looking to help a young up and coming team. And that's what they're looking for, then they're going to have to do a lot of negotiations and try to see who they can bring in here to carry that role.
I just think whoever's the best. This is the time when that best player available comes to play. Like, they don't have anybody locked in. Yes.
No. Tarasenko is going to be on that list too.
Okay. Now that would be somebody I would love to see them get, but he's going to want to play for a contender too.
There's nobody locked into a position in this team. Not one spot that you can say. That's this guy's position.
Cam York defense.
From here in the next 3 years.
Cam York.
All right, but
I got Cam York.
But I'm talking.
Noah Cates.
I'm saying
Morgan Frost. Those three guys are pretty much, I think, locked.
And I think maybe Farabee.
And Farabee.
Yeah, no, I think Farabee will move.
You think Farabee?
I think they would move Farabee if the price was right.
They would
I think they'd move any one of those guys if the price is right.
They're not moving. I'm telling you, Cates and Frost they're not. Those guys are the
nucleus. If you hand them a King's ransom, they'll start talking. Right now,
King's ransom?
Now, you'll take a King's ransom on anything. My point is, I think you go for whoever is literally the best player available. Even if you have all your first round picks, if you have say 3 or 4 best players available, don't worry about positions. Don't worry about that. Just pick whoever's there who's going to make this team that much better.
Well, it would be nice. Like I said, if they built through the draft, if you still got connecting here, and him and Tarasenko on the same line.
Yes. My 2 guys.
That could be dangerous.
My 2 guys I would sign, and I know Tarasenko's getting to be up there a little bit in age, and I know Bergeron's up there in age.
Mm-hmm.
I would sign them too. Because you have a natural leader in Bergeron, and he can still put the puck in the net, and you get Tarasenko to go along to help out. Now, you could put Bergeron center in the line pretty much with your 2 young guys, and then you have Tarasenko on the line with Konechny.
Right.
Flyers would be real. Listen, the Flyers would be okay. Like I said, this whole idea that it's going to take 4 to 5 years on a rebuild, dude, is just.
I don't think it's outrageous.
You don't think it's out. Yeah, but that's if you got to look at it of all the stuff that they have come. Like right now, they're in purgatory. They have too much cap money, and they don't have enough draft picks.
So here's my thing: is it so after what you just said? So they have to spend this year trying to unload and hopefully get the cap right. It'd be pretty much one of the big check boxes for this year for them. So that's 1 year right there. And then you have they somehow spend a lot of first round picks, they get 4, and they bring some other prospects in. You need at least a solid year or 2 to get those guys right and up and coming. Dude, so to say 3 years is not a stretch of the imagination at all.
And then and here goes another free agent, Matt Dumba, from Minnesota Wild. I mean,
I don't know. We have enough Minnesota guys who come in here and failed already.
Actually, no, Matt Dumba's not bad.
No, I'm kidding on that.
But I get your point on that one. Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking to replace a quick fix then again, I don't think this team is in for a quick fix. But I mean, again, a good defenseman. You need a defenseman out there. So, but like I said, I'm thinking your normal, quick patch, quick fixes. But like I said, I think this team is going to build through the draft. I just think the Flyers have an idea, and like I said, I am turning my head into the favor of the Flyers. I'm again, like I said last week, I
turn his head like he does into a hot dog.
If he turns his head, he might
one hand sausage, the other one hot. Never mind, wrong place.
If he turns his head anymore, he'll be able to itch his own back with his front teeth. This boy,
I'm telling you,
it's happened
it's like
before.
Freaking Blair over here. The way he turns his head.
I'm telling you. I told you, man. Yeah, we're gonna have to buy him springs, man, for as much as he's on and off bandwagons. Make sure you tape your ankles up too. You don't break them.
Listen, here's my thing about the Flyers. It's fun and exciting. How much we have spent more time talking about the Flyers today than we did in the last 6 months.
Yes.
And we all have sat here and done post game
shows. For what? Exactly.
Well, that's one thing about the
we did what? We did almost we did more time now about the Flyers than we did about the Flyers.
It's funny though, because people you hear the casual Philly fan, oh, who cares about hockey? Who cares about the Flyers? And it's funny.
Yeah. Until they start winning, and then all of a sudden you'll see this logo everywhere.
When the summertime comes, they all check into the PM and AM show. They what's going on? What's everyone talking about here? Because we usually bring some good hockey contact other than me.
Oh wow!
I try and get that out of my mouth.
Are you all right?
So, guys, speaking of that, we're just going to glide right past that one. With the Flyers coming up, there are going to be a lot of new faces. You're going to want to see them. I know I'm going to want to see them. And there's a lot of good games coming up with the Phillies. The Eagles season.
So where can we see them, Al?
You can go live, see them. Go to sherrystickets.com. Get this hard-to-get tickets. I'll tell you right now, I'm a seat snob. So you can probably go and buy some tickets if you want to sit up in the nosebleeds. But to get those good seats, it's going to cost you. You don't want any hidden fees. sherrystickets.com. And that's not just sports. Concerts, theaters. It is concert season. So get out there and get them. That promo code EOP10 will save you 10% off at sherrystickets.com. So that's 10% off. No hidden fees. You try to find a better deal somewhere else. I I dare you go to sherrystickets.com.
Yeah. So anyway,
little Jean over here.
Yeah. My name is Lejean.
Shrimp Lejean over
here. Shrimp Lejean, if you know why. But anyway, listen. Talking about free agency, let's get into.
Hold on, Dive is right. Summer League is dropping. He means the roster, and also I know we're going to get a lot of Summer Leagues NBA coverage with Dives and everybody else here at EOP. So just check that out.
Yes, definitely make sure. Nobody breaks stuff down like Dives.
Dives. Sean Bernard, my brother from another mother and father, and my man.
We don't take no claim to you, bro. Stop that.
Oh yes, he does. We did a show with him. I'm like, yo, my man. What's going on here? We
only room for one Bernard.
Yeah, I'm like, are we brothers by mailman? What's going on? So
looked
we're a cable guy.
Yeah, and after watching us, he probably looked and was like, dude, we are not related.
Oh yeah, definitely. He definitely had that.
Even your own brothers look at you and say that they're not related.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. That's wrong through Chuck's head. But anyway, since let's see let's talk about Sixers and free agency. Why? Because they could. I want to see where.
Why?
You already know where we're going. They're going to re-sign Harden. Listen, the head coach don't want him back. That's clear. He does not want this dude. But guess what? His boss does. And nobody else in the NBA wants Harden. Nobody.
That's a problem.
Yeah. So you know what's going to happen? His boy's going to hook him up with a max deal here, screw us for years, and it's insanity. Why? Because they're doing the same thing over again, expecting a different result, and they're not going to get it.
Like I was listening to Al and Freddie on Wednesday, and they had Keith Pompey on, and he said himself, 80% of chance he's going to be a Sixer. So, like I said, I don't see them moving on, but like you said, Mike, I mean, like a lot of people, even in the union press box, were asking me, how do you feel about the Sixers and what are they going to do free agency? To me, I'm like, look, I love Nick Nurse being here. I get it. He has a winning resume and all that stuff. But it doesn't matter to you when your two biggest stars disappeared.
They quit.
Bingo, Mike. They quit when it was time to show up. And, you're our great center, the
reigning MVP.
MVP
was cried. He was a ghost.
He cried about getting MVP. Out beating Joker for it. Guess what? Joker at the end of the day got the last laugh.
No, he didn't because
he did.
Joker played in the weaker conference.
Listen, if anybody had a good
but still, he had
a solid playoff run. I'm not going to knock
out. See, the thing is, the difference between him and Embiid right now, and at that point was. He was consistent through it. There wasn't games that he fell apart. There wasn't games that he was ghosting people. And listen, the Nuggets had I would say, the easiest road to a championship. I mean, you swept the Lakers, who
I think it was 5.
Was it 5? Who was the first team that they played? Because they had the first round off.
That was a sweep.
And then that was a sweep. And then I think it was who was the first team? No, why am I completely?
I know they played. They played.
And listen, hardest game they have, the hardest season was the finals. Who went up against Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat, who had to play in a play-in series. So that means they were much more exhausted, not as rested.
Yeah, they were toast by the time they got there.
I mean, listen. I'm not taking away from their championship because if that was the other way around, I'd be sitting there pounding my chest.
Oh yeah,
go pound sand. I don't even want to know where that came from.
Sorry, when you say go pound, I get excited.
But my ultimate point is the consistency was the difference.
Right, Joker was consistent.
His numbers that he plays, and that's all we've ever asked for Joel Embiid. Just do what you do all the time, every time. You do it for 80 games almost, except for when you don't play. So say 60 games, 65 games. You do that for. There's just why does it change? And that's the problem. Why? And same thing with James Harden. Why do things change when the playoffs come around? Why?
Yeah, like when
people play you differently than they do in the year.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, I feel like as long as Morey's going to keep bringing this dude back, like somebody above Morey's got to step in and go, dude, you've already tried this. We haven't gotten past the second round.
And that's like I said, I get the excitement of bringing Nick Nurse into this team, but like I said, I really just want to talk about the NBA free agency. But like again, it's to me, it's
Well, speaking of, so did you guys hear last night about the Tobias? That the Suns are interested in Tobias Harris?
really
Yes.
No,
Is that because Doc's about to be their head coach?
Well, I think, and I was messaging back and forth with Joey and Fred, and we were just texting each other about it when the news was breaking. And I said, it makes sense. Tobias doesn't have to be a number 3 or 4 guy in that team. He could be I don't know if he's going to be a bench player, but he can come off the bench, or he's not
the last option.
Nobody's going to be looking at him to be Batman at any point in the year on that one.
Right.
So I think that's great for them. I just find it kind of weird that they're going to be able to take on another year contract with somebody with that high amount of payroll after now where they have Kevin Durant and all the other big numbers out there. So, but according to NBA Central later yesterday, the Sixers wanted a package of Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, and a draft pick for Tobias Harris. Lofty goals there.
Yeah.
Lofty goals.
Yeah. And look, listen, if they get any kind of deal they get for Tobias, take it.
I wouldn't say any, but keep going.
Right. And well, if it's worthy, at least in negotiating about.
I would have said Mobley in a pick.
Well,
you know what I mean? If they drop it down to maybe Mobley in a pick, I would do that for Tobias. Sixers need to get draft picks, man.
Well,
they have
like
no
I said,
draft picks.
Let's because like I said, they obviously missed out on the picks, but what can they do in free agency? Because do you want the Villanova product? Dante DiVincenzo will be out in the market. Who else is going to be out there? Marco Carter Williams, Seth Curry will be out in the market.
I wouldn't
because, like I said, the big news, and I think it's going to hurt the Boston Celtics, bringing Brazilians and trading out Marcus Smart. I'm still not.
Yeah, they're going to lose Jaylen
Brown. I don't think that I don't think the Celtics upgraded at all.
Well, I think they're going to lose Jaylen Brown too because it's obvious that him and Tatum can't play together.
Right.
That's one of those dudes. Like one of them dudes is going to be out of there, so they're not going to get rid of Tatum. So Brown will probably be getting traded somewhere out of there. Or I think he's a free agent too, Jaylen Brown.
Right. They said he's holding. I don't know if he's going to be on the market, but like I said, I'm just trying to look at some of these players that we could possibly bring in and help this team. If you're looking for a good supporting cast, Patrick Beverly, 34 years of age.
No, I don't want nothing to do with Pat Beverly. That dude, horrible.
What do you think, Al? Who do you think the Sixers should be bringing in here?
See, this is what makes the Tobias Harris thing kind of interesting. This is the only reason that Tobias Harris, the only thing about that I like Tobias Harris. I think he's a good player. I mean, again, I always feel like we preface this every time we say Tobias Harris, trade him.
I like that, Dives.
It's because his contract could mean 2 other good players. Or something, and we have no wiggle room, and that's what Mike just said. We are cap strapped. We are we have no room. I mean, they were about almost $60 million over the cap before the season started. Before the season starts, so it really kind of handcuffs you, and you would have to do a sign and trade with James Harden to get anything out of him, because if you don't, you only save about $15 million. You lose James Harden, and that's the problem. Like, I'm as annoyed with James Harden as anybody else, but he's still better than a lot of the players out there. Dive saying Harden is a choker. It also doesn't help that his coach runs him into the ground during the regular season. No, you're absolutely right. Here you go. And we should have him on the show today.
Yeah.
Some free agent Sixers targets: Bruce Brown, Josh Hart, Kobe White, Troy Brown, Dylan Brooks. Yeah, so there's a lot of names right there. Any kind of any kind of buy low candidate, and that's the thing is you're going to only get Walmart brand players.
Right. You're not going.
If everybody's going to sit here and wait for this big splash to happen,
no, they're going to be disappointed.
It's going to take a lot of maneuvering, and Daryl Morey would have to put his feelings aside for James Harden, find somebody he's willing to trade with him, sign and trade with him, make some like. I honestly thought the Suns was a spot for him. I just don't know if they could afford him at this rate. And he Dives, you know what? If you want to call in, I wouldn't mind hearing from him. But I'm going to throw this out there. If you look at the Suns, the only thing they're really missing is a point guard. Durant played with him, and obviously they liked playing with each other. It was more the Brooklyn Nets and Ben Simmons and a lot of those things that kind of moved them apart. But if
that was Kyrie too,
Kyrie probably made things a little hard to deal with. Is there? I mean, would that not make sense? They need a point guard, and the four of those things that would be almost like the Brooklyn super team, but even better. 2.0.
Well, there's a big difference. Like they got rid of Kyrie and you got Donovan Mitchell out there. So
yeah,
Donovan
Mitchell, Kevin Durant, and then you add
James Harden. And Tobias. I mean, if I'm the Sixers, I would do a try and trade. You would trade both of them out there and just get a boatload of people back. Now you might be able to get those three.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're adding Harden into it. They got to make out, the money. And then you can go get guys like a Josh Hart. I would love to see Josh Hart get time at the Sixers.
Oh, yeah. I would love that too. So, like I said, like Dive said, the X factor in all this is Tobias Harris and what the Sixers can do with him. And like you said, if he can.
Oh, don't forget Devin Booker.
Yeah.
You add him. That's what I'm saying. Like, people.
That's what I was thinking of, not the other guy.
Yeah. Maybe they have that's what I'm thinking. Like, do you move? Is it more makes sense for him and that team than the Houston Rockets? I mean, the Houston Rockets, that's just a payday at that point.
Yeah. Then,
I mean, if you're James Harden, you're like, I don't want to win a championship. I want to be rich. I'm good with being rich.
Right.
You can keep your championship.
If you're looking for, again, we were just talking about the Flyers. If you're looking for that veteran leader and you're going to give me a nice payday, sign me up. That's what you're looking for. I'll go down to Houston. I'll coach these guys. I'll be, get them in their ear, what to do and all that stuff. As long as I'm getting a fat payday, and I could care less. You know what I mean? I think at this point in his career, unless, like I said, he wants to give it one more hurrah, then you're going to have to go somewhere else. But like I said, listen to Keith Pompey with you guys on Wednesday. 100% sure he's not going anywhere. So, yeah, I mean, just looking at that Suns roster, I mean, that's a win now mode. You know what I mean? Terrence Ross, Chris Paul, again, a veteran, old Chris Paul, Devin Booker, a lot to work with out there. A lot to work with.
Donovan Mitchell was the guy that got traded last year from them. That's it.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, it's going to be curious to see what the Sixers do this summer. It's going to be fun to see what the Flyers do this summer.
I think the Flyers will be more intriguing because it's like, it's like getting a puppy. You got a few new puppies. You get to watch them grow and all that stuff. What you're looking to do is with the Sixers, they're looking to buy dogs. They need dogs now. They don't need puppies.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless this puppy can be like a Tyrese Maxey where he can contribute day one. That's why the draft pick comes into play when it goes for trading Tobias Harris.
I'll make a lot of this to bring an announcement of it's like PennDOT, right? The Sixers are like kind of a quick fix on a pothole where the Flyers are going to be a brand new, freshly paved street coming through. And that's what you want to take a ride down. You don't want these bumps in the roads like you have with the Sixers and see if they can patch and hold up. The Flyers are going to be a brand new, which I think with Keith Jones, and I'm going to say Danny Briere, I'm optimistic of them turning this team around.
Make sure you cut that out.
Mm-hmm. I am. I
make sure you cut this because when they're not doing so hot and they're doing this and he starts barking like a dog,
yes,
you need to play this and say, no, this was you over the summer, and then just play
because again, I'm intrigued for they're going to lose next year again. They even quoted from the start, long over who.
No, they just came out and stated the obvious. Like if anybody watches the Flyers and watches hockey knows that the Flyers were in purgatory, that they had to do something, that there was going to be a losing season coming. Like we've been losing, but there was going to be a season where we had to tear down. No more reload.
And that's the thing too. Again, like look at the Drew era, right? They were trying to again. They're trying to quick patch things and what they thought was good talent, and just nothing ever panned out. Just nothing. Again, in and out of the playoffs, you hover around the 8th seed. As a fan base, we're tired of this. We're tired of the circle of
mediocrity. It's a circle of mediocrity. And
well, I mean, from the Flyer standpoint, it's not even me. It was talk about insanity. Talk about a hamster wheel. Yeah. I mean, and everybody's upset about, oh, I don't want to do another Flyers, full factory, if you want to call it, with the brass. But we had not had that in Chuck Fletcher and other pieces recently, and that didn't pan out. Those guys couldn't get past the fact. I mean, Chuck Fletcher wasn't drafting for the future. Chuck Fletcher wasn't trading for the future or trading. He was trading to win now, which, okay, it sometimes makes sense. But when it wasn't there, he was forcing square pegs into round holes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you want guys who are young, who have time, and who have the patience, and who get this fan base. Again, I understand why people don't want another set of Flyers in the back room. But this is a different group of Flyers. That's
my point that I'm trying to make.
This isn't the same guys.
But that's again when you look again, casual fans. Oh, another ex-Flyer going to run. Oh, geez, we've seen. But like you guys are saying, this is not the Broad Street Bullies. These are guys who've been around the league, who like Mike, you said it best. Guys who cut teeth.
They cut their teeth somewhere else, and this is the best one that I've heard so far. Okay, is people getting on about John LeClair getting a special assistant's job. Yeah, like what they don't realize what John LeClair is. Okay, I love it because John LeClair has an in with USA Hockey. Okay, this is why they brought John LeClair in, just like they brought in Patrick Sharp, who's got an in with Canadian hockey. Mm-hmm. There's a method behind the madness with this, but yet these Flyer fans. Oh, by the way, Patrick Sharp was here for a cup of coffee. Well, for all people who don't know, that's Bobby Clark's son-in-law.
Yeah, he played. He won a Calder Cup with them.
Yeah,
and he played maybe 30 to 40 games
with the Flyers, and then the Flyers dealt him away to Chicago.
And then he started winning 3 cups. He's an Olympic gold medalist. I mean,
and he has an in with Canadian hockey, which means
what kind of guy do you want there? You want a guy who knows how to win.
Knows how to win.
That's my thing is.
Yeah. Again, they are again. They've raised my eyebrow. I'm looking
the whole thing.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah,
they was kind of slanted.
Yeah,
but I mean, no. This is why, like, I had to do a little rebuttal to those guys from yesterday because, like, it's not your father and grandfather's Flyers that are taking over.
This is not Bobby Clark. It's not
Holmgren. It's not the Hound. It's not Bill Barber. It's not none of them guys. These are all guys that have been. Who went elsewhere and cut their teeth. Like, Danny Briere didn't just retire 2 years ago and the Flyers offered him a job.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, listen, we're going to get a little bit of a taste what Danny Briere and Keith Jones are going to do in the draft. What talent are, whether are they going to move up from 7 or are they going to stay?
Let me ask you this question. When was the last time you cared about the NHL draft?
It's been a long time.
It's been, I mean,
and that's on the organization. That's on the organization because
it's 16, right? When they got the second pick.
Yeah.
They got who's the guy that they're?
He went to
Guthrie.
No.
Dylan Guthrie.
Yeah.
What about him?
He's the last time I cared. I mean, that was last year, but
that was last year. Yeah,
but he's a guy I'm waiting to come up. But my point is
playing college.
My point is you didn't have many first round picks. You usually had later round picks.
Nolan Patrick.
Nobody. You thought they were going to get dealt away at best. Like, that's my thing is we care about this team because you bring a new surgeon to fly because there's a possible future.
I'll never forget that draft that Pat you were talking about, the Nolan Patrick draft.
Yeah,
because the Flyers they didn't even send representatives up there. They did not even send reps up there. They were just like, look, we're picking 14, and all of a sudden they get the second pick.
Yeah, and then like it came out later that Bobby Clark was saying, "Oh well, we never had Nolan Patrick on our board. That was all Ron Hextall." Like, who throwing Ron Hextall under the bus on that one? But I'm like, Clarky, you're
again though. Clarky was just,
Yeah, just no offense.
All right, real quick though, I just want to remind you guys: you looking for a Broad Street bully? I go to Dave Cherry, man. That's right. He will He will bully the defense for you when it comes to your workers' compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, criminal law. 610-565-0300. CherryInjuryLaw.com. Give Dave Cherry a call again. 610-565-0300. You get a work injury, a car accident, slip and fall, criminal law, whatever, he will be there for you. Dave Cherry is the man, and Dives is saying, trust the Briere.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dives, put that on a shirt, buddy.
Yes.
Well, listen, and again, how many times have we said this
Put
coach
that
got
on a train
hired?
stand.
Yeah, this coach got hired, and I don't like him. He's not my coach. He's your coach. I hate to break it to you. He's the coach of your team. These guys are your back office of your team. You have no choice in this time. I'm not sitting there saying blindly trust them. If you want to have your hot take, so if they do fail, you can say, hey, 3 years ago, I told the PM and the AM show that they suck. And I was right the whole time. Don't you guys ever want to be wrong? This is a time where being wrong is a good thing.
Yes.
So look, Mike, before we get out of here.
Oh, real quick. By the way, you were at the Union game yesterday,
yes, sir.
Covering it in the press box. Great job. For those who are looking for, it's up on the site. Go to EOP Sports or edgeofphilly.com or EOPsports.com, whatever is easy for you to go to. It's also be on our social media around 11 a.m. and as well.
Thank you, Al.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was that was a great time yesterday. Oh, I was loading my face up with some good meat. But
anyway,
and he also went to cover the games.
Yeah,
there's that aspect of it too.
Yeah.
Anything for a free meal, Bernard over here.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like I said, it was an absolute tremendous experience. Again, if anyone hasn't been to a Union game yet, I get it. This is your typical 4-4 fan base, but man, if you guys here on Edge of Philly Sports, we cover it all. And guys, I'm telling you, the atmosphere down there is firing on. It is just it's something you need to be a part of. Go check them out. Again, the Union are playing really, really good soccer right now.
We play Atlanta, right? We play Atlanta coming up, right?
Atlanta Sunday afternoon, prime time, 4:00 next. This coming up this weekend, 4th of July weekend. But Mike, speaking of Phillies bets, 1:00, Wheeler on the mound. What's the meal of the day, my man?
Chili dogs.
Oh, you're gonna chili wiener?
Yeah, chili dogs, dude.
Now
I'm getting my Pat Bernard on.
Oh, now listen, you got me excited.
Did you call it a Bernard on?
Yeah,
Bernard on.
You got a Bernard on for that?
Oh,
yep.
A red Bernard. Oh,
there's another T-shirt for you.
Yep.
Yeah, another trans stamp. But anyway, listen, Mike, you were at Johnny Hot's last week, and
yes.
I haven't been there since I was like 7.
Dude, it's the best place in the city. If you guys are up near Fishtown area, Penn Treaty Park, make sure. And I don't care. I'm sorry, Al. I plug these guys because they have the best hot sausages in the city. I haven't had one out here yet that even rivals them. So yeah, if you're around that area, Delaware area,
I remember they just opened Monday to Fridays. Have they expanded to the weekend?
Saturdays, they're open Saturdays to 3:00 as well.
I love the fact that you have a sandwich shop that's only open Monday through Friday.
Dude,
and you're making the money to do.
Oh,
so.
Listen,
I mean, how many people in the restaurant business get to say they only work Monday through Friday?
I actually had a spot near me called Fat Dad's who makes a pretty good sandwich.
Fat Dads,
Fat Daddies, yeah.
Oh, Fat Daddies.
Yeah, they're me and Matt Klein always hit it up. So they another one. They're only open from 8 to 3.
That's how Johnny Hot says.
That's one thing, but not being open on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
It's kind of that tells you doing well.
Man, you're making me hungry. Stop.
Yeah.
Looks like we're taking a ride to Fishtown.
Yes, sir.
But I just figured it's something like the wife's working, so she's working until I don't know, making me money.
Hot dogs, boiled, grilled, or fried?
I air fry mine, and it's
it's fried then. Okay,
air fried, and it's the best.
Oh yeah, I imagine it's good.
Oh, amazing! And it's you get a nice can of Hormel chili. I do the canned chili.
You have to do the Hormel because you need to chop fine chili. You can't just use chili for the sake of chili.
Right. So you get that, and then I get. I don't do onions because I'm allergic to onions. Mm-hmm. It's a weird allergy, but I get the taco cheese, and you just put it right on top, man. Melt that sucker down, dude. Heaven.
Yeah, definitely.
Heaven. And your hot dog, you can literally cook a pack of hot dogs in 5 minutes in an air fryer.
Oh yeah.
So you got 8 dogs done in 5 minutes. So that should be if you have an air fryer, Pat. 5 minutes.
Oh man, you can
pack of hot dogs. That sounds like Pat's snack before lunch.
That's the only guy I know who goes to Dollar Dog Night to practice for his nights at Saturday nights at Blue Oyster. He's like, "Oh, Dollar Dog Night's coming out. I got to practice."
All right, sir, we understand you bought 20 hot dogs, but you have to keep cupping the imaginary balls. Come on, man, knock it off.
It's a quick unzip. That's all.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's always a good time. And before we get out of here, since we really don't get to talk this with the new baseball schedule, Al, I got to hear from you. Who's your most hated Met of all time?
David Wright.
You're going to go David Wright.
I'm going to go David Wright. And there are probably other ones you could pick throughout the years. But if you look back, and I think back to when who was the announcer? Keith Hernandez. Was it last year when he started running his mouth about how the Phillies? If anything, Keith Hernandez that's the run the Phillies turned it around and started making a run for the playoffs. So you're welcome, Keith Hernandez. Thank you. But when he started talking about like the Mets and the Phillies aren't even in the same conversation over the years, and I looked back and I looked from like 2000 on, where if anything, the Phillies outnumbered them most of the time in wins, in championships, in playoff wins, and runs like that. They were pretty close in that part. But I look back to when the Phillies and the Mets really were going at it in that 2000s era, and David Wright was a thorn in the side, and that's kind of that was when the Phillies were big for me. And after '93, they were kind of a no-show for the most part. They were not really a good team until the early 2000s there. So, and the Met that was in the thorn in my side was David Wright.
Yeah, I mean, Al, I gotta agree with you because when I was through the intermission, I was going through the walking around the Subaru Park, and somebody came walking in there with a Mets jersey, and I just cringed my teeth, and I just saw that David Wright jersey on there, and I instantly go from being a media guy to right into my fanboy,
Local media guy jumps over the counter and beats up Mets fan at Union game.
It just cringed my teeth, like that blue and orange. I could spit at. It disgusts me. But
is that your favorite shirt? That blue and orange shirt that you
always wears.
Anybody want to point that out? I mean, just point it out.
Well, Mike, how about for you?
Darryl Strawberry.
Darryl could definitely be up.
Listen, I grew up in the time. I'm a little older than you guys. I remember going to Phillies Mets games, and you get all them scumbag Met fans used to come down to vent. Darryl. That's why I laugh at the Mets fan. I tell them.
I think the Simpsons episode that made that popular.
Yeah, and that's why I look at a Mets fan and I smile at them and go 86 and forever. Woohoo! Yeah. Because that's my every time they lose in the postseason, I love it.
Yes, Philly sports guy had there was a fan there yesterday because I was they allowed a Mets fan to throw.
Oh, come on.
The first pitch. Luckily, they wouldn't let him wear his Mets garb. But there was a guy dressed like Mr. Baseball, whoever it is.
Mr. Met.
Mr. Met or whatever. Mr. Dumb Bait. What? I'm sorry. Can we just talk about that? I know the Philly fanatic's crazy and out there, but he's iconic and he's memorable. You literally are a baseball team who is a mascot who's just a dude with a giant baseball head.
All right.
You're like Pat Bernard without a tan. Like, that's what you look like.
Yeah,
the giant head on a little body.
Exactly. A nice 47-pound head.
But I don't. But my point is, like, I saw Philly sports guy take a picture with him or a video or whatever, and he was holding the 1986 DVD about the Mets.
Really?
And I'm like, that's funny. That's ultimate clowning right
there. Yeah, I mean, like, listen, I despise the Mets. Despise them. I got friends of mine who are Mets fans, and it's cool. Like, that's fine. But they are the most despised team for me. Believe it or not, I
all 4 for 4 sports.
Yeah,
more than the Cowboys, more than Penguins, more than all that.
They're right there. Like, for me, it's Cowboys and Mets. Yeah, I hate the Mets. I will never put. Like, if you go each sport, it's basically Cowboys, Mets, Jersey Devils, and then for the Sixers, probably the Knicks. You know what I mean? It's that whole Philly, New York thing. Like, I can't stand them. And like I said,
you hate the Devils more than the Penguins?
They're right about even.
Okay.
They're right about even, but I hate the Devils more. The Devils have cost us more chances to go to the Stanley Cup.
I want to say, because I remember in the early 90s, my dad hated the Devils.
That's why I'll never forgive Ron Hextall. Ron Hextall gave up a shot that went from the Spectrum parking lot into the First Union Center or Wells Fargo Center.
Yeah.
Like, Stefan Richer just took a slap shot and Ron Hextall just missed it. That's why I call him Ronnie Red Light from that point on. After that. Eileen says, "You mean you don't hate?" No, I do not hate the Yankees. I really do not, because we don't play the Yankees unless
if you want to go to 2009,
like a World Series. But even then, I didn't hate them. You know what I mean? Because
I don't like the Yankees because I don't hate them. I just don't like them because they just always assume that they're going to be in the conversation for a World Series, which give them most of the time they are.
They are. I mean, listen, they spend the money to get there, and I but to me, I don't have that hate for the Yankees. I really don't. To me, it looks like they're one of they're the iconic franchise in baseball. So if you're meeting them in the Fall Classic, that puts you right kind of with them. You know what I'm saying?
It's weird. Like I don't like I said, I don't like the Yankees. I got them like on the lower tier hate. How can I put it? Like they're hated, but I could tolerate them. Like the Steelers.
It's like the Eagles fans hating the Jets.
Yeah,
they're like the Steelers to me.
You don't like them from far. When you hate somebody, you're behind them, breathing down their neck, and you want to just rip their face off.
Yeah. See,
I just look over at you. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah,
just shut up, Yankees.
But here's the thing, like Steelers fans, I don't have no beef with them. Like to me, I'm like, hey man, you know what? They're like our brothers from the other side of the family. You know what I mean? Like, hey, congratulations.
But they're the cousin at Thanksgiving that everybody's like, oh, look, he won 6 championships.
Yeah.
Oh, look how good they are.
You can't knock it. You can't knock it.
They're the favorite son-in-law.
Look at the Eagles sitting over there. Finally got a job. Finally got the promotion they've been looking for all these years.
Yeah, meanwall, you're slave labor, and I get it. I get it.
That's more of a jealousy thing. Let's just call it for what it is. It's more of a jealousy thing.
And now, now our hockey teams are like, no offense, but Flyer fans are going to be jealous of the Penguins because they've won, 4 cups, 5 cups now?
Like somebody asked me a while ago, let me ask you guys this question on rivalries. Is it really a rivalry when the other team is just outbeat the other, like just outright own the other team?
I don't see. It all depends. If you're looking at it, I guess it's the way you categorize it. Really, yeah.
I mean,
if you're categorizing it by championships, then Pittsburgh's own.
No, but
if you're looking at head. No, the Flyers are. Flyers.
No, but I'm asking from a question standpoint: is it considered a rivalry if the other team outright is just outperformed your team? Or is a rivalry consistent when somebody goes one-on-one? Or is a rivalry just based on some team that you just don't like, you look for, you circle on your calendar when they're going to play?
That's a rivalry.
No matter how good the other team is compared to the other.
Yeah. I mean, God, look, how many years were the Cowboys really, really good and the Eagles were shitty? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
again, is it also a rivalry, because somebody asked me this, if both sides don't see it that way?
Yeah, and it's the truth. Like, we've just become a rivalry to the Cowboys. If you talk to a Cowboy fan, their rivalry for the longest time was Washington. The whole Cowboys and Indians thing. That was their thing. Like, even when...
I would have thought the Giants.
Yeah, I would have thought more of the Giants.
They're at least the early 2000s and on.
No. It's always been...
I mean, those two teams are living literally in the past. I mean...
Again,
even their DeLoreans don't go that far back.
Listen,
right.
You would think, but no, Washington, the Eagles just overtook Washington as their rival now because of how these games have been being played between the Eagles and Cowboys over the last over the last decade. Really,
I want to agree with you, Mike. I think it's what makes the rivalry is the Cowboy fans from here. It's not the Cowboys fans from down here. Like you said, they focus on.
That's why I would tell people, go to the Philly sports trips and sign up for this one. It's in December. It's in Dallas, so it's going to be a little warmer than it would be up around here.
Tailgate's worth the price of admission alone.
Yeah, and you know what? I've been to Dallas, and I've seen Dallas fans from Dallas. The first part, they don't like the Eagles. Don't get me wrong; they're division rivals, but they're nowhere near as obnoxious and annoying
as the Northeast Cowboys.
We really don't even have a rivalry with the Cowboys. We have a rivalry with our neighbors who are Cowboys fans.
Yes,
right.
That's who the rivalry sets it.
Yeah, because you know what? Again, the Eagles were kind of trying to get over that hump in the early '90s. Dallas finally got over the hump. They go to back-to-back Super Bowls. They win 3 out of 4. And trust me, I know plenty of dudes that were rocking Eagle starters until Dallas won their Super Bowl, and all of a sudden they were rocking a star. They're wearing it, and they're talking about Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, and I'm like, dude, you were just wearing green.
right.
So it happens, but that's how these people.
Right, they're front runners.
Yeah, they're front running people, and sometimes you take a look at things and you see certain things, and like I always look at people where they'll have a really good football team, a really good baseball team, a really good hockey team, and a really good basketball team. And like all those ones are like always around the finals or they're always talked about. in the media.
And to get back to your point with the Eagles and Cowboys, it's funny because, like I said, the Cowboys around here, the front runner ones, they always go, "Oh yeah, we got 5 rings, blah blah." But the minute the Cowboys drop out of the relevancy conversation, well, I do like Jalen Hurts. No, you can't get on this ship.
No. See, Cowboy fans, I know, no, they're not like that. I mean, I know some of the Cowboy fans. I do know. They give credit where credit's due. Like if the Eagles are a better team, they're going to look and say, "No, Eagles are a better team."
Right.
And but it's always good to talk smack in between. My son had to wear a pink hat last year. They're doing a little bet between Cowboys and Giants. I talk trash. I'm like, I don't like either one of these.
Yeah, well, I mean,
yeah.
But I mean, like I said,
I guess you could say that again. I think this does play into what I was talking about earlier because I feel the rivalry with the Cowboys and versus the Giants and Eagles. The Giants have, especially over the last 10, 12 years, have just been that little brother you pick on.
Like, yeah, we've been beating
the Cowboys. It kind of goes back and forth. Nobody's won the division twice in a row, and since 2005,
20 years,
20 years now, and that's again, it does make a factor in what your back and forth is.
Right, and it's again, the Penguins rivalry. They just got. I won't say relevant, but I mean, again, it's 10 years old, 10, 11 years old. Ever since again the Crosby trash talking, saying I don't like any of them, and that got out to the fan base, and that's what kind of started this whole thing. And then, but I mean, look,
he's had the last laugh.
Yeah, he always does.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. Like Pittsburgh's had the last laugh when they come to the hockey now.
And that's why we like, when the fan base likes again see that Broad Street physicality.
Listen, I know somebody who's a Pittsburgh fan. And he told me, he said, the saddest thing in the world for him to see is the Flyers being bad. He goes, I don't take no joy in watching my Penguins beat up on the Flyers. He said, because I know what a proud franchise that once was. Well, he was like, he goes, that's what I want to see.
Years ago.
And it's crazy. That team is so used to being in the playoffs. The minute the Penguins didn't make it this year, by Ron Hextall, right at that front seat. Ran that GM spot. They got rid of him quick. But anyway,
he lost from everybody there.
Yeah. So, but anyway, look, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for checking the PM and the AM show. Stay tuned later tonight at 9:00, all across, all the time. I'll have you covered with all the action. So, guys, check
it out. There's a fight.
Yeah.
Fight final today.
Who's on the call on that one?
Is that you?
I don't think so.
Okay. So if it's not you, it's Matty B.
I guess it's Matty B. Who was last night? Was that you?
Matty B. I was at you. So,
all right,
it'll be somebody. Yeah. But make sure you tune in, and I'll have
one of the schedule.
Right, and I'll have the article up probably by tomorrow on this Met series.
So, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Go Phils.
See you.